On the morning of December 23rd, 1974, 3 girls left home to do some last-minute Christmas shopping. Fort Worth was crowded. Stores were full. Families were getting ready for Christmas Eve. 17-year-old Rachel Trlica drove. 14-year-old Renee Wilson sat beside her. 9-year-old Julie Moseley had joined them at the last minute. They were supposed to be gone for only a few hours. That evening, Rachel's car was found in the parking lot of Seminary South Shopping Center. But Rachel was gone. Renee was gone. Julie was gone. The next morning, a letter arrived at Rachel's home. It said the girls had gone to Houston and would be back in about a week. For some people, that letter seemed like an answer. For the families, it created a deeper mystery. Why would 3 girls disappear 2 days before Christmas? Why would a 9-year-old leave without saying goodbye? And if Rachel wrote the letter, why did so many details feel wrong? More than 50 years later, no confirmed trace of Rachel, Renee, or Julie has ever been found. This is the story of the Fort Worth missing trio. Rachel Trlica was 17 years old. She was married, still in high school, and living in Fort Worth, Texas. Renee Wilson was 14. She was Rachel's friend, and she was dating Julie's older brother, Terry. Julie Moseley was 9. She was the youngest of the group. She had not been part of the original plan. Terry was supposed to go shopping with Rachel and Renee, but he decided to spend the day with a friend instead. Julie asked if she could take his place. Her mother said yes. It was an ordinary family decision, the kind that happens every day. A younger sister wanting to come along, an older brother changing plans, a trip to buy gifts before Christmas. The destination was Seminary South Shopping Center, a busy Fort Worth mall. Rachel drove her 1972 Oldsmobile. The girls planned to shop and pick up items that had been placed on layaway. Nothing about the day appeared unusual. No known warning. No clear threat. No goodbye that suggested they planned to leave. They simply got into a car and headed toward a mall during one of the busiest shopping days of the year. The exact timeline has never been perfectly clear. Family accounts place the girls leaving late that morning, around the middle of the day. Julie's family has said the group may have stopped at an Army and Navy store before going to the mall, but the last location tied clearly to all 3 girls was Seminary South. They entered a place filled with Christmas shoppers, bright store windows, crowded parking lots, people carrying bags, holiday music playing somewhere in the background. At some point that afternoon, the girls returned to Rachel's Oldsmobile. What happened after that is unknown. There are reports that items they had bought were still in the car. There are accounts of people who believed they saw the girls inside the mall. But none of those accounts has ever explained where the 3 girls went. As the hours passed, they did not return home. For the adults waiting for them, the delay was becoming impossible to ignore. This was not a school night. It was not a trip that required a long drive. It was supposed to be Christmas shopping. By the early evening, family members began looking for them. They drove to Seminary South, and there, in the parking lot, they found Rachel's Oldsmobile. The car was parked near Sears in the upper lot. It was the one solid thing left behind. The girls had vanished from a public shopping center, not from an isolated road, not from a remote trail, from a mall filled with people, cars, lights, and stores. Their families stayed at the shopping center through the night, hoping the girls would return. They did not. Then, on Christmas Eve morning, an envelope arrived at Rachel's home. Inside was a short, handwritten note. The message said the girls had needed to get away. It said they had gone to Houston. It said the car was at Sears' upper lot. and it said they would return in about a week. But the note did not settle anything. Rachel's family questioned whether she had written it. The wording felt formal. The handwriting on the envelope raised questions. The family did not believe Rachel, Renee, and Julie had simply decided to leave. Years later, handwriting analysis still failed to provide a final answer. Some examinations found possible similarities. Other questions remained. Federal analysis was inconclusive, so the letter became neither proof nor explanation. It became another piece of the mystery, a message that may have been written by Rachel, or may not have been, a message that offered a destination, but gave no evidence the girls ever reached it. In the first days after the disappearance, investigators considered the possibility that the girls had run away. The letter made that idea harder to dismiss, but their families never accepted it. Rachel was 17. Renee was 14. Julie was 9. The families believed Julie's age alone made a planned disappearance difficult to explain. And there was another problem. If the girls had left voluntarily, why abandon the car? Why leave without contacting anyone they trusted? Why disappear completely, with no confirmed sighting, no verified call, no trace? Over the years, detectives followed hundreds of leads. There were reported sightings, possible witnesses, tips about vehicles, searches in different parts of Texas, claims that surfaced years after the girls disappeared. Some witnesses described possible encounters at or near the mall. None of those accounts was confirmed strongly enough to solve the case. In later decades, investigators revisited old evidence and pursued new searches. In 2018, 2 vehicles were pulled from Benbrook Lake after a possible connection was suggested. They were not linked to Rachel, Renee, or Julie. The case remained open, but time changed everything. Stores closed. The old mall changed. People who remembered that December day grew older. Some important witnesses died. And still, the question remained. How do 3 girls disappear from a crowded shopping center and leave behind almost nothing? There are several ways people have tried to explain the Fort Worth missing trio. One theory is that the girls left willingly with someone they knew. That possibility has been discussed because there was no confirmed struggle at the car and no verified eyewitness account of an abduction. But it remains only a theory. Another possibility is that someone persuaded them to leave the mall, then prevented them from returning. That would explain why the car stayed behind. It might also explain why no one immediately recognized danger. But there is no proven suspect, no confirmed vehicle, no verified final sighting. Then there is the letter. The letter is at the center of almost every theory. If Rachel wrote it freely, it could suggest the girls left voluntarily. If Rachel wrote it under pressure, it could suggest something very different. If someone else wrote it, then it may have been intended to delay the search or create a false trail. But none of those explanations has been proven. This case has attracted rumors for decades. Some names have been mentioned. Some claims have spread online. Some alleged connections have been repeated until they sound like facts. They are not facts. The evidence does not establish who was responsible. It does not establish whether the girls left voluntarily. And it does not establish what happened after they left the mall. The most honest answer is also the hardest one. No one knows. The Fort Worth missing trio began with a simple plan. A few hours of Christmas shopping. Rachel Trlica was 17. Renee Wilson was 14. Julie Moseley was 9. 3 girls left home in the days before Christmas. 1 car was found. 1 letter arrived, and 3 families were left waiting. The mall is no longer the same. The stores have changed. The parking lot has changed. The city around it has changed. But the case has not. Somewhere, there may still be a person who remembers something small. A car parked in the wrong place. A conversation overheard near Sears. 3 girls walking with someone. A detail that seemed unimportant in 1974. For the families, that detail could mean everything. More than 5 decades later, Rachel, Renee, and Julie are still missing. And the question from that Christmas morning remains unanswered. What happened to the Fort Worth missing trio,